All right, so welcome back to the AM show. Let's get into one of our major issues for this morning. It's about the public hearing into that particular plan, alleged plot to oust the current IGP, Dr. George Akuffo-Dampare. Well, yesterday, one superintendent had his day at the committee and he brought out a lot of issues that we are not privy to. Well, my colleague Samuel Mbura was our man in Parliament monitoring the procedure there for us, and he joins me in studio with a wrap of how yesterday really went and what we should expect. Sammy, morning.
Good morning, Kojo.
So you were there.
Exactly.
So give us a brief of what happened.
All right. So yesterday, the third police witness, that is Superintendent George Asari, appeared before the ad hoc committee probing into the leaked IGP tape. We know that these were the three names that were captured in the tape that Bugri Nabu presented to the committee or was scrutinized by the committee on. So the first person, Eric Emmanuel JB, Superintendent, he is a director at the Forensic Laboratory Criminal Investigation Department, Ghana Police Service Headquarters. He has taken his turn. When he came, he denied the knowing about the plot, and then the committee interrogated him briefly, and then he was released. Same was applied to COP Alex Mensah. He had about 2 days to be questioned and all that. So the third person, Superintendent George Asari, had his turn yesterday, and then we know, per the narration from Bugri Nabu, he is the one who allegedly started the entire plotting. So when he appeared before the committee, he was asked about how he got to know Bugri Nabu, and that's where the genesis of it started. So he indicated that Chief Bugri Nabu's son, one prophet Emmanuel Bugri Nabu,
who was his spiritual father.
So the son of Bugri Nabu is a prophet, and then he spiritual father to Superintendent George Asari. So it was one of their usual meetings that his spiritual father told him that you are in the service. Are you aware that there's a scout for a new IGP? Then he said, he wasn't aware. They said, okay, I will introduce you to my father because my father is the former regional chairman of the MPP in the, and then he's an influential figure and all that. So that was the first time he was, according to his accounts, he was introduced to Chief Bugri Nabu. So there was another meeting that Bugri Nabu, per his accounts, invited him over to his house, and that was where he asked him, so do you have any officer in mind that you would want to recommend for the position of the IGP? Because we are told, the information coming in is that the president wants to replace IGP Akuffo-Dampare. So that was where he mentioned COP Alex Mensah. And COP Alex Mensah is his boss. So he has worked with him closely before, so he knows his capability. So that is where the meeting started. So that was the second meeting. The third meeting was when he was to present COP Alex Mensah's CV. So he gave out the CV. Then later there was a meeting that was scheduled according to Superintendent George Asari. On the 19th of June, Chief Bugri Nabu called him like 13 times to come for the meeting, but he couldn't answer. Then later his boss, COP Alex Mensah, also called him. So he didn't understand why the calls were coming. And then he followed up to the office of Bugri Nabu at Osu, and then that was where the first tape, or the tape that we are hearing, was reportedly recorded. So when he was going there, he was suspicious. Why is the man calling me several times like that? So that was why he was alarmed. And according to him, he also armed himself before going to meet Bugri Nabu, because he knows that he's a politician and anything could come up.
Okay.
They were also having a suspicion
that he suspected that a recording like that could happen.
So he also armed himself. In fact, he has told the committee that he has a video. And I've already seen snipers of the video on social media. I spoke with his lawyer. His lawyer said it has not been drawn to his attention yet, but he saw something like that. So he was now questioned on the administration of the IGP Dampare, which he maintained that he had a lot to say, but wouldn't want to say them in public. He requested for an in-camera hearing, just like the case of COP Alex Mensah. to spill the beans. He says he has a lot to say and tell the committee because all is not going well in the Ghana Police Service that he thinks that the committee needs to know.
All right, there is more that you will tell us, but we have your report, which is a wrap of how yesterday went, ready. Let's take a look at it now. When we return, there is more for us to share with you on this public hearing into the plans to oust the current IGP, Dr. George Akufodampare.
Head police officer, Superintendent George Asari, who is corroborating, claims that the IGP engineered their conversation with star witness Bugri Nabu to be recorded. George Asari, in spite of his request to give his testimony in camera, alleged Daniel Bugri Nabu was used as a conduit by the IGP to trap them. He's, however, denied portions of the tape. He claims they are doctored.
But later, upon further inquiries, remember I'm a policeman. For investigations, I'm very smart. But that side, when we meet in camera, you know who did the recording, who was sent by who, and on what promise to who. You will get it when we meet in camera.
Further alleges a contract was awarded to Daniel Bugri Nabu by the IGP to procure over 40,000 boots for the Ghana Police Service as a reward.
And he has lied on several occasions. I have Alhaji Bugri Nabu on tape. Everything he came to say here on video in his office, the same office. His relationship with IGP and contracts, 40,000 books contracts.
Mr. Asari also revealed that Daniel Bugri Nabu suggested spiritual fortification for them to secure the position of the IGP.
Honorable Chair, like I said, that spiritual matter, it was in two ways, either Christianity or other faiths. But he insisted, please, Honorable Chair, he insisted that he has some malams, as I use those words interchangeably, or imams. Yes. Yes.
But Alfred Dakwa, who is lawyer for Superintendent George Asari, says he is satisfied with the probe so far because it has given his client an opportunity to clear his name in the public.
Had already been crucified. And at least today he's been able to at least say his side of the story. And I think that's the most important thing now.
Will you be surprised if the committee doesn't invite the IGP? His name keeps coming up. Will you be surprised as a lawyer if the committee doesn't invite the IGP?
I think it wouldn't even be fair to the IGP if he's not invited, because allegations have been made against him. And it's important that, principles of natural justice, he also gets the opportunity to also say his side.
Do you think your client has a case or somebody has a case?
He doesn't need to have a case. He was invited as a witness, so he came to say his side of the story. It's not really about the Republic against him or he against somebody. His name came up, and I think he came to explain how all these things happen.
Meanwhile, there is an emergence of a new tape the ad hoc committee is considering to scrutinize. Chairman of the committee, Samuel Atta-Akyea, said they will consider even an in-camera hearing and invite all persons of interest in the probe.
That the first audio is not authentic in terms of some aspects, but they admitted that some of them were authentic. Now, you've had the benefit of a tape on the assumption that it's authentic. The members of the committee will have to internalize the tape, and it is also transcribed and look at it. And that will give us the ideas as to what to do. First of all, do we bring all the stakeholders together with their lawyers for cross-examination and cross-firing to take place, whilst we listen attentively, and later when they finish, then we'll have our turn. And then, are there matters which should not come into the public domain because of national security implications? So we'll do long in-house or in-camera hearing.
For now, all four witnesses, including Daniel Bugri Nabu, COP Alex Mensah, Superintendent Emmanuel Jebi, and Superintendent George Asari have since been released. The Parliament Ad Hoc Committee will continue in an in-camera hearing of this probe. From Parliament House, Samuel Mbura.
All right, so welcome back. Samuel Mbura is here. So Sammy, the in-camera hearing comes off today, right?
That is not certain.
Okay.
The committee, what the chairman said, they are going to internalize the new tape that has emerged, and then they will decide the way forward. So that's where either they'll invite the lawyers and of the witnesses and the witness themselves for them to scrutinize it. If need be, they ask further questions, because some of the witnesses have already indicated they want to give an in-camera testimony on this whole issue. So details of that will be communicated. But what we do know is that there's another interested party, the committee, that some police officers have also requested to make an input into the probe. The committee chair confirmed that, and that they will also open it up to any person of interest or anyone that is mentioned in the course of the interrogation to also come and give the information. Mind you, this committee is not just limited to the leak tape alone. They are on a fact-finding mission. After that, they will present their report.
A fact-finding mission into what?
Into not just, like he said, the Ghana Police Service is not under trial. However, the entire conversation is not limited to only the leak tape. They were constituted to look into the leak tape. However, the dimension is expanding. So every member or any person that is of interest to the tape would be mentioned. So after collating the views and the evidence that they gather from this investigation, they will put it in their report, add recommendations. A reason is said that possibly the IGP could be invited to also give answers, because so many things have been said about him, and at least it is fair for them to also hear from him. So the committee is really expanding the work or their investigation, but not limited to the four witnesses captured in the alleged tape there.
Interesting. This one says, watching from Southeast Nigeria, Arinzo Wanko Azaya sent this one in. Grateful to you for joining us from Nigeria. So as for today, there won't be any sitting.
That we are not certain. We are not certain. The committee said they'll start an in-camera hearing. So we are yet to find out from them when exactly that will start. But we know very well that the media will not be allowed
to be part of it. Yeah. But being around the committee, what has been the extra thing you've heard that we haven't heard?
Well, everything has been captured in public. I think the committee has given all of them a fair hearing on the issue, and they have been legally represented. All witnesses who appeared before. It has not been a hostile environment. After the sitting, you see that they come to greet one another. Despite the grilling of these witnesses, you see that they go to have a tete-a-tete conversation after the meeting and all that. So it has been, an environment that has been created for them to come and help them unravel these findings or these allegations that have been captured in the leak tape that has gone viral.
But the probe sort of revealed that all is not well with the police institution. Exactly. Is that something that is shared by the committee?
Well, the committee has expressed interest in getting to know what the exact problems are in the Ghana Police Service. COP Alex Mensah said that right now, the junior ranks and different ranks in the Ghana Police Service from top to down are not happy about. That's the allegation about the administration of Akufo-Addo, a reason they want to open up more. Second has to do with the promotions. I was told, and the committee chairman, Samuel Atta-Akyea, confirmed that some officers have sued IGP Dampare over promotion issues. And these issues were also captured by the witness that appeared before the committee. So it has actually been an interesting sitting so far, and we are hoping to see, or waiting to see how the entire story will progress.
Wow, it's very, very interesting. If we're able to tell how many of the police personnel who have sued their IGP for what's happening, but it's interesting that all of this probe is bringing out how the police institution is in itself. I mean, we'll see what will become of the institution going forward after the probe. But lawyer Bobby Banson, is a private legal practitioner. He's joining us on phone. Lawyer, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Samuel, and thanks for having me.
With all the probe that's been happening, what has been the takeaway for you as a lawyer?
Well, because you've added that caveat as a lawyer, let me be. Well, the first
okay. Let me remove the lawyer from there. What has been the takeaway for you?
So I can feel free to talk.
Exactly, feel free. Yeah.
Well, the first question I asked myself is whether or not the probe should have been held in camera and not in public. You know, we are dealing with security issues, national security issues. We are dealing with discussions that border on the top hierarchy of the Ghana Police Service, including the IGP. Now, we know that once it's held in open, we cannot discount the fact that almost every police officer, whatever rank, will be interested in the outcome. Now, some of these things are coming out. Whether they are true or whether they are not true, they'll create perception. You will have people within the police service that will not like the IGP. You will have people within the police service that will like the IGP. Now, the publicization of some of these comments from persons that have appeared before the committee, whether these comments are true or not, would feed into a certain narrative, whether for good or for bad. And no matter the outcome of the probe, the consequences of it, in terms of it affecting the morale of members of the police service, either right or wrong, cannot be whittled down. And so I was hoping that they will first have the probe not in public, but then behind closed doors. Secondly, I'm asking myself, what is the end game? So when they are done with the probe, the recommendation, what are they going to do? Because it's only the president that appoints the IGP. Yeah. The other members of the police service, depending on the rank, are appointed by the IGP or appointed by the police council or so. And so what will be the end game of the committee? These are some of the questions that I've been asking myself. And listening to some of the things that are being said by the persons that have appeared before them, I think that no matter what happens, we have to have a serious look at the police service, and then maybe the police council should also be given either more powers, or if they already have the powers, should be able to get involved in some of these things so that it will not degenerate into something that would be out of control.
So, I mean, you've been asking yourself about the end game. You've said that there should be this should lead to probably a reform of the police service. But what is your reading of what the committee will be, listening to the questioning, the responses given? What's your reading of what possibly could be the recommendation by the committee?
Well, I think without prejudice to the final outcome, from what I have heard so far, like I said, I think there should be a way where the police council should be empowered to receive complaints from officials or officers within the police service on some of these things. So, for example, if public notice that some officers have sued the IGP for allegedly not following established protocols or their code of office or conduct when it comes to promotion, and they are now in public domain discussing it, the apathy it creates. Are these not things that can be handled by the police council? Will it not have more authority to be able to handle some of these things internally so that they do not come out to the public domain? Because once they come out to the public domain, the confidence that we are supposed to have as a people in the police service may be affected. But if it's handled in that manner, I believe, with the police council being given the authority, having a form of, like they have, I know the police has its own internal procedure for handling disciplinary issues. But these are not necessarily disciplinary issues. These are issues affecting the governance of the police service. And I think that the police council should have some form of authority to be able to resolve some of these things by alternative dispute resolution means.
Now, the police service itself, from this hearing, comes across as one that is very unstable. I mean, from the outside, we wouldn't know. But once this hearing has opened up the service to all of us, we are getting to feel that the service is not that united. How do we, I mean, aside giving more powers to the council, how do we cure the failings of the institution as is being pointed out to us through this hearing?
You are echoing the sentiments I shared. You said categorically that some of these the revelations coming out of it points to one thing, that there is no unity in the police service. And you as an ordinary person who expects that the police service would be able to provide security within the country, and if there is no unity, the chain of command may be broken at a point in time. The ordinary person who may be affected. I believe that when this is done, the executive, which has, I think, overall responsibility of the police service, and the minister in charge, they should be able to sit all the persons affected down, should be able to resolve their personal differences, and then come up with a joint statement for the populace to reassure us that all differences have been resolved, the police is united as forever, and whatever remedies or recommendations that ought to be implemented to ensure that there is no repetition of these occurrences would be done. I believe that would give us some level of assurance that whatever the problem was, there is some attempt to resolve it.
All of this thing is coming due to the appointment of the IGP. Must we continue with the protocol, or it should change?
That the president will appoint the IGP.
Exactly.
I keep saying that that we should be able to build strong institutions, so that irrespective of who heads that institution, the structures are there such that they cannot be influenced by the executive. And so, if the president appoints an IGP, the IGP should be appointed from within the structures that have already been built, devoid of political influence, so that whoever becomes the IGP already has these values of the police service with integrity, instilled in him, such that he sees his appointment as an elevation or a crowning of his years of undiluted service to the police service, and that he does not owe allegiance to whoever appointed him, but to the Constitution and the people of Ghana. So, and the appointment by the president, I believe, is in consultation with the Council of State. I know what the Supreme Court has interpreted consultation to be. But if we take that authority from the president, who would we give to appoint the IGP? Who would we give it to? Definitely to be given to an institution or somebody that is also headed or constituted by a human being. And so for me, the focus should not necessarily be on who appoints, but that we invest in building structures right from your entry level up to the highest rank. It should be on merit, so that you know that you didn't enter in the first place because of political affiliation. And your promotion to whatever rank should also not be because of political affiliation. If we start that from the root, whoever becomes IGP should not be a problem, because we know that the structures are so built and so strong that that person has no chance to corrupt it.
Very interesting. The police who seem, and again, when it comes to the appointment, if Bugri Nabo had not set out to receive the CV of someone who is qualified and what have you, probably this could have been cured. And that's why it's important that we find a way to probably cure this way of looking for an IGP, where a party fanatic who is known to be close to the powers that be will set out to go and look for someone to lobby for. Now, at the end of the probe, how do we get all the parties to reconcile? Because I see that COP Mensa and the IGP, as well as the superintendent, reconciling them will be quite a hectic job. How must that be approached?
Well, we have, like I said, the police council. We have the council of state. I believe that they are made up of persons that have the necessary experience and expertise and the temperament to be able to resolve some of these things. I do not think that whatever problem between them is unresolvable. I mean, they are human beings, they are in this country. We have certain values, we have certain cultures that I think that should be invoked to be able to resolve their differences. And I think that having the police council or the council of state constitute a committee or something like that, that's just to meet them to resolve these issues, would not be out of place. I'm very confident that they will find a resolution to the impasse between them.
All right. So what would be your expectation of how this should be? We're told that the police, the committee is watching or listening to another lead tape, and then they will decide to whether bring in the IGP himself to have his day or not. What will be your expectation of what the conclusion the committee will be arriving at?
I think the committee, committee, I expect them to invite the IGP. I mean, he's the head of the institution. They are a fact-finding committee, and so if allegations have been made against somebody, it's only fair that other person is given an opportunity to respond to those allegations and state his side of the story. They are not operating like a court where an allegation has been made and so he who accepts must prove. That is not how the committee is operating. They are operating as a fact-finding committee. So once the IGP has been mentioned as somebody who organized the recording, I believe so, that was the allegation made against him, and he leaked the case. It's only fair that he's given an opportunity to respond to these allegations. So I expect the committee to invite him.
Okay. All right. Grateful to you, Lawyer Bobby Bansen, for joining us with your perspectives on this matter.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Lawyer Bobby Bansen is a private legal practitioner there, and this is still the AM show. You can join us with your thoughts, on this particular matter. Go onto our Facebook page and leave your comment there. We'll take a quick break. We still have more to share with you. You remember that a development where an NGO wants to put up a center that would deal with childhood cancers. It's a conversation that you have to look forward to. But we'll be back with more. Stay with us.